Happy birthday, Shrek 4, or Shrek Forever After, whatever it is, Shrek the Final Chapter, or should it actually be called Shrek the Third, properly, believe it or not? I guess Shrek Third Ever After? I don't know. I'm just trying to spitball ideas. You may be thinking, hey, wait a minute, what's wrong with Shrek the Third? Well, that's a story for another time, aka a rant. This, though, is a great big honor to this awesome film. I love Shrek Forever After. I saw it a few times as a kid, and I own a Blu-ray of it, surprisingly enough. And I thought it was nice. I enjoyed it then. I always found the whole waffle stuff, due to roar, etc., always funny. But I didn't really realize just how emotionally impactful it is, how important to the story it is, how much of a great callback to the series' roots it is, and just how incredibly well written, well developed, well planned, and just enjoyable and amazing it is. Like, holy crap, this film is a masterpiece, I'm telling you. You may be thinking, okay, Margot, what are you smoking? Well, I'm smoking some Chef Rails Productions good video that doesn't even once make fun of cars at all. Not directly, that is. So yeah, if you haven't picked up already, you guys definitely need to go check out the Shrek 4 video that Chef Rails has made. Unlike the Shrek 2 and Shrek 3rd videos where he kind of teases Cars 2 or maybe says something that's kind of outdated or whatever, or his video editing and his mic and everything like that is kind of lower quality. This video came out sometime last year and it is awesome. Go check out that video. It rocks so much. It's about 40 minutes long, but it's definitely worth those 40 minutes. And I feel the same way as you, Chef. I really don't understand why this film gets so much backlash. And Matt doesn't hate it, but he just kind of considers it, alright. Could have been better, though. And a lot of people rank it so low on so many, like, DreamWorks ranking lists just because they think that Shrek the Third ruined everything, which they're right about that, but that it can't get back up, and that it's rehashing previous plot lines, or it's just stealing the idea of It's a Wonderful Life, or something like that. Just a bunch of non-correct bullcrap, and I'm sick and tired of it. And I'm putting my tire down and saying this film deserves any credit that it can get. It deserves so much more love than it gets. Why? Well, first of all, something I need to bring up is that Shrek the Third absolutely tainted this entire franchise's reputation. It made it look like a stupid joke for kids and nothing else. Any wit and charm that the series once had in the previous two films, which was immense, all got flushed down the toilet with the exception of one good scene. And now that a fourth one's being made, people think that it's just a cash grab. It's just rehashing the same formula as the third film. But no, it seems as if the people actually realized the problem with Shrek the Third and didn't take any of the elements from the movie and make them, seem like they're important. I mean, yeah, King Harold's not present, and that's probably the only thing that you may want to see Shrek the Third for. But considering how much of a mess it is for the story, how sloppy it is, how unfunny it is, God, is it unfunny, how badly it uses music, King Harold's death itself is insulting, etc., etc., etc. Not to mention the fact that Rumpelstiltskin completely looks different in that film, which contradicts this as well. Just like Shafrel said, say it with me now, that movie is not canon. Thank you, namaste. Anyways, back to actual good Shrek product. Shrek 4 comes back and says, hey, let's make Shrek good again. And so it does, by a long shot. It is probably superior to the first film. Yeah, I said it. It can't quite reach the quality of Shrek 2, but I don't think really anything can from DreamWorks, with the exception of a few, like The Prince of Egypt. But yeah, wow. Shrek 4 is amazing, guys. And now we know that it was possibly made due to monetary reasons. The reason why it was made so well and the fact that it concludes the series is because they care about the artistic integrity of their franchises. DreamWorks cares when it comes to making sequels, whether it be Shrek 2 and this film, the Madagascar sequels, kind of, sort of, at least it's a continuous story. Not to mention Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. You can't really say that now very much because Croods 2 apparently seemed fine. Trolls 2 is Trolls 2, of course, and good lord, whatever Boss Baby will be like. And now you work for me, boomers! Anyways, back onto, again, good Shrek product. You can definitely tell that they put their awe and their care into making this film. Heck, even Jeffrey Katzenberg made the decision to make this the final Shrek movie. That's pretty dang ballsy. And this definitely shows in this film. The way how it constantly recaps past events without seeming like a rehash or just simply like it's leftovers and it's going nowhere. We see past elements in this film. So, what's exactly is the plot? Well, after the events of Shrek the Third, which we might as well just ignore, and the fact that Shrek now lives with Fiona and now has kids, which the opening montage kind of sums up what's happened. You don't need to see Shrek the Third to explain the babies, etc., etc. So yeah, Shrek went from all being alone in the first movie all the way now to being like a best friend, a wife, a husband, an icon among the public. It's all really 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 frustrating after a while, and it gets on his nerves. And he's being roped into all these situations, and then is just kind of expected to be perfect at it all. And it's new territory for him. Good lord, his dad tried to eat him apparently. I can't remember what that came from, but still, that's what Shiv said. But yeah, so it makes sense that he'd be irritated by it. Not to mention the fact that with the way how people acted at the party, it's just like in Shrek the Third, with everything being watered down and babyfied. Kind of sounds a bit like a certain reboot that is not allowed to be talked about in his household. Yeah, we definitely can understand why Shrek feels this way, and the scene where he's arguing with Fiona is definitely harsh, but it makes sense. It seems in character for him. He's an ogre, and people say things when they're angry that they don't exactly mean. I do it all the time. I don't think I've done it on camera or in a call or anything like that, but I've done that several times before, and I often regret doing that. And eventually, that's what Shrek does, and it takes him a while to realize this, and when he does, it's so satisfying and it pays off so incredibly well, even though he's saying it with the people that he didn't yell quite at, really. So, he comes across Rumpelstiltskin, who was already set up previously and earlier on in the film as the person who could have gotten so close to ruling far, far away, but then Shrek rescues Fiona, yada yada, just see the film to understand all this stuff. And thus we understand why our villain has beef with Shrek. And then the conflict comes when Shrek decides to make a deal with Rumpelstiltskin, and it seems as if Shrek gets the opportunity to have a day to himself where he gets to do ogre stuff. And then he realizes that he's in a dimension where everything has fallen to chaos. His swamp is dried up and decaying and barren and just sad looking and derelict. Far, far away is in a mess. And blooming, I can't even believe I'm saying this, the blooming castle, the tower from Shrek 1 that Fiona was up in, it's abandoned. There's no dragon, there's no lava around in the moat. It's just decayed. It's sad. It's really, 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 really sad. And then we realize that Fiona's a wanted criminal and that blooming donkey is put into slavery, apparently, it seems. And various other characters have all gone off the deep end or gone nuts or just sucking up to blooming Rumple, who now owns Far, Far Away and possibly the world for all we know. Yeah, wow. The stakes are high. Shrek can't believe what's going on. And it's so interesting to see such a turn in this world that we know so well and seeing it all being like turned into this monstrous hellscape. Wow, it's really entertaining. Not to mention the fact that this movie has such an interesting tone, which I'll bring up. So eventually he meets Fiona and they rekindle and he meets up with Donkey and we get exposition scenes with what's his face, our great big villain who's awesome as well. And we get to see Fat Thor. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean Fat Puss in Boots. And various other characters, and there's various other scenarios where Shrek tries to win over to love with Fiona so that he can get his life back. But when we realize that Fiona is not only awesome in this movie, but she's also a jaded warrior who's not involved with any of this princess crap anymore. She's above that now because she was never rescued in this timeline because Shrek doesn't exist. And now she's sick and tired of all this waiting for true love, and she's become rebellious towards Rumple and getting all these other cool ogres to fight him and stuff like that. It's really interesting. And now we have, instead of Fiona trying to get Shrek to love her or whatever, or however it worked in the first film, now we have Shrek trying to win over a war-hungry, hero and everything like that. That's really interesting, and it basically inverts the whole story arc. I love this. This is great writing. This is the kind of clever writing that you see in, like, I don't know, various Pixar movies or classic Thomas and Friends, etc. This is just awesome, and I love this. And of course, we get some fun scenes as well, from various witch chases to seeing various characters from the past interacting with one another. Donkey meeting up with Shrek is fun, and all the scenes with the witches and all the humor that comes from our main villain. That's something else I need to bring up. There's not very much humor and music used in this film, but that's simply because of the tone. It's very gothic and dark and spooky and run down and everything like that, and it all fits within the story. So adding like fart jokes or poop jokes or a witch who plays the piano and tries to set the mood for you, no, that stuff does not work in this. And there's not much music choices either and all, but when it comes on, it's nice. Oh god, my voice is dying. Anyways, yeah. And the conclusion as well is also incredibly fun, whether it be the climactic scene where we see Shrek and Fiona fighting off the dragon, as well as with the help of Donkey and Puss in Boots. That was also pretty dang cool. Again, classic characters being utilized in a different way. And then we see all the other ogres taking down the witches and Rumple and his big ball crashing down and everything exploding basically. Wow, what a blast it is. Such a fun way to end up the movie with this awesome climax. But then Shrek's dying. I didn't mention this earlier. He would die by the end of the day because this is a universe where he was never born. During the scene where he signs the contract with Rumple, he has to choose one day in order to get a day to himself so he can be an ogre. And that day that was chosen was unfortunately enough the day he was born. That's why Shrek's not in this universe. And at the end of the day, he'll be dead and this is going to be reality forever. And that's why it's such a struggle throughout the rest of the film for stuff to happen. Why Shrek wants to get his life back by kissing Fiona. Can't exactly remember how that whole thing works out, but yeah. And by that I mean how exactly it would give him his life back. Again, I haven't seen this film in a while. I haven't seen many of these movies I've made birthdays on yet in a while because I've only been able to watch clips because time currently. Oh, why does everything have to be against me? But anyways, as I was saying, Shrek is dying and he has a beautiful scene with Fiona telling her about the fact that they have kids in the other reality. And the most amazing part of today was the fact that he could have an opportunity to fall in love with her again. That's actually beautiful. And then he fades away almost like a inverted version of Infinity War dust style. And then everyone in the area starts poofing away, the world crumbles around Rumpelstiltskin, and then we come back to the party where Shrek's roaring. And he realizes his mistake after all this time, and he sees his children, he sees Donkey, all his other friends, and Fiona herself. And we get some excellent callbacks to the past bits of the series, and how Shrek even says, "You know, I always thought I rescued you from the tower." "You did." "No, it was you that rescued me." Wow. Just wow. And it ends with that wonderful moment and a nice little window painting for the little scene. And then it ends with a nice big dance party sequence that basically involves Shrek and all the other classic characters, Rumple being caged up, and even all the other ogres as well. Not to mention the fact that we also have the Pied Piper in this film. Am I saying that right? I forgot to mention him earlier. Yeah, he's like a secondary villain in this. He's kind of like the Boba Fett, but way better. He is so fun to watch. And the idea of him is just ingenious. Just go watch. But yeah. And then afterwards, we get a nice little end sequence. It almost feels, again, this feels like the end game for Shrek, basically. Where we see various shots that are used from the previous film, but done in a certain way. And it's all just a callback to Shrek 1 and 2's great moments, as well as Shrek the Third scenes. Just, wow. Just, wow. What an amazing journey. I'm so glad other people love that absolutely amazing masterpiece. Oops, they don't because they're all idiots. Come on. You guys gotta tell me to at least appreciate this film. It's okay if you don't like this movie. I know a lot of people don't. But do not say it was a cash grab that was just simply as extra filler for the franchise. As Chef Rose said, if it was, again, a cash grab, it wouldn't have ended the series. This is not an Ice Age sequel. This is not a Despicable Me-quel, again, as he said. It's the perfect conclusion to this awesome series that just has that one little middle chapter we can rip out of the book and pretend doesn't exist. See, guys? And now, here I am with Shafe and a few other people starting to open up to it. And I want you to, maybe as well, give this movie a rewatch with this mentality. Maybe watch the Shrek 4 video by Chef Frills while you're at it to get better insight. But yeah, in short, this movie absolutely rocks, and I truly do adore it. Any bit of recognition and heart that it gets from people is absolutely earned. It more than earns its success that it gets. I just wish that that success would exist more in this world, but people don't see the same as me, Chef Frills, and a few other million people. So yeah, give this movie a watch and give it some more credit than it gets. I truly do adore this movie far more than I did it as a kid. I just enjoyed it then, and I adore it now. And now, would you look at that? We finished Shrek 1, we finished Shrek 2, and Shrek 3. I'm sorry, 4 apparently. And in that perfect order as well. How perfect is that? We've basically summed up the entirety of the Shrek franchise altogether in the same blooming year with birthday videos. How perfectly well-rounded is that? Well, of course, I'm going to still have to make a rant on that blooming turd of a film, Shrek the Third, eventually. Don't worry, that should come out sometime sooner or later. But before I end this video, I want to bring up something else, Shrek the Musical. At school today, my musical teacher, or my music teacher, Miss Olson, who I always have concerts with and everything like that for school, yeah, she was on this website that was a ranking list of tons of famous musicals and everything, and her and a few of the other classmates were looking around it and brought up Shrek the Musical right when I was thinking about it, and I jumped into a conversation talking about why Shrek the Musical is a failure, even though I've never seen it. Because Shrek is so well known for its pop music and its subversion of the fairy tale genre, and as a big middle finger to classic Disney films. And here comes this thing that's doing exactly that. It's almost like making an animated movie that's talking about why cell phones are not exactly the best thing for society and why teens are obsessed with them, only to then just advertise various cell phone apps and treating emojis like they're the awesomest thing ever. Oh wait, that's also a thing, that also didn't work out either. So yeah, I explained all the problems to them, or at least I did as much as I could before their short attention spans veered off to something else and interrupted me. And guess what one of the guys said at the end? But yeah, Shrek is musical, or has music and stuff like that, so making it a musical makes sense. It's perfect. It's common sense, dude. Ugh. Maybe there's a reason why I don't have too many friends at Franklin, is because a lot of them are kind of normie pinheads. But honestly, I guess I still take that over a lot of the jerks that were at St. Mike's, even though I did make a lot more friends over there than I did here. But still, I guess I could say I had to deal with a lot of punches to the stomach, but still a lot of nice, wonderful gifts from people at that school. While here at Franklin, it's more so just kind of everyone's neutral to me, with a few people that are sometimes talking with me. No bullies or anything like that. So yeah, but anyways, I was going off topic there. I'm sorry, Shrek 4 absolutely rocks. And I hope to God there isn't a Shrek 5 coming out, because this is the perfect conclusion to this awesome series. Happy birthday, Shrek 4. You deserve all the love you can get.